That judge did not do anything wrong. That judge did exactly as I'm sure all the judges were briefed to do, and Danny Spiegel did not listen, like she never does. And she finally got what was coming to her.
250, so just a couple adjustments there.
Yo, here we go. We're sitting here. We got this clock thing on in the background. What's going on? Tell you what, I'm actually decently annoyed because I just spent all this time, and I thought that I had something, and by all means, I've got something. But it really didn't end up amounting to all that much, and some people might not think that. It depends on where you sit on the leaderboard, honestly. But Wodapalooza is this giant event, right?
Wow.
And it's coming off of the back of Rogue, which I make a video about how I think that Tia Toomey should have won Rogue, and I do believe that, and I think that is because of the events that kept on changing. And we're watching Wodapalooza, and earlier in the day, there was an event where they had to do hang power cleans, and they subbed them out for deadlifts, and I'm thinking, all right, you sub a hinge with a hinge, it's no big deal. But then they switched the shoulder to overhead to a front squat, and nothing I'm saying has anything to do with what this video is about. But when you change something like that, it speaks volumes to me about how important the fitness competition is. It means that when you do something like that, the rest of everything, it's free game. You can do whatever you want. And dude, we're talking about 5 seconds here.
I'm just talking about fractions of a penny.
This whole video is about 5 seconds. Right now I got this timer up, right? And if you know what Deja Vu is, it's the third event of the weekend, and it's raining like crazy, and they made all these substitutions. We're gonna make the dumbbells lighter, we're gonna make the boxes shorter, and we're gonna make you guys do strict pull-ups, right? Okay. Here's the deal. They did all this stuff, and then they can't even get the clock right because the fitness portion of the competition does not matter. Nope. People come from freaking Australia, and they come from Europe, and you know what ends up happening is the second heat of Deja Vu for the elite women, they got an extra 5 seconds. The second heat already has a little bit of an advantage, one that they have earned, but they also don't earn an additional 5 seconds to work on the additional the initial, not the additional AMRAPs. On that first AMRAP, you take the 3-minute portion and the 5-minute portion, and you ram it together, and it's basically an 8-minute AMRAP where you're accumulating reps. It's going to be damn near impossible for me to decipher without sitting there and counting every single athlete's scores the entire way, but what we're going to be left with is some scores that range from anywhere from 135 all the way up to 165. And what you're going to see is once we get to the 3-minute portion on this clock, where I started this video with the announcer talking to you, where you knew that there was indeed a countdown. You've seen this timer the entire time. And if you want to be just as annoyed as I can, you could do what I did. And you can link this thing up, and you can take your little iPhone with this little stopwatch, and you can see, just like I did, I freaking saw that this thing is accurate. Now in 5 seconds, they're going to start talking, and you're going to hear the announcer stop the clock, but not on the right time.
Throughout the course of an event, this almost forces you to kind of manipulate the throttle a little bit better and not just go out there and try and blast.
5:3:05 because they got an extra 5 seconds. And you're probably thinking, no, the overlays. Well, I already told you that I linked up my stupid little stopwatch app on my phone, and I know that's not the overlays that are messed up here. I know that it is indeed the fact that they got extra 5 seconds, because if you actually go to the first heat, the overlay with the timer was wrong there as well. This is what we're dealing with here, and this is why I'm so bothered. The women in the second heat, the higher placed women, they had a little bit of an advantage. So if you finished really poorly, you actually finished better than you should have. You got rewarded twice. And if you're in the bottom of if you're in the first heat, the bottom of the leaderboard, basically the bottom 26 is what I went with here, you're getting punished more so. Because if you have a good finish, you would have had to have finished even better because you didn't have as much time as the second heat to go as far in the AMRAP. See what I did there?
I don't think that I'm explaining this very well.
Of these athletes, I picked out 7 of them who were affected, 3 of which I'm considering a wash. The first wash is going to be Julia Hansford, who I believe is the athlete who won the snatch in the first event, and then has just been barreling down the leaderboard ever since. She only got 4 points on the event. She had 135, and here's the thing. She was so low, and there was no one underneath her, that no matter what happened here with this 5 seconds, and although she had an additional 5 seconds, she wasn't going anywhere. Danny Spiegel, on the other hand, was in a 4-way tie. She is going to lose 3 points. So she got 7. She's going to actually go and tie with Julia Handisford. So where she finished 34th, she's going to end up finishing 37th and a tie for 37th. So Danny Spiegel, you're moving down the leaderboard as well. Fisa Gaffi, you finished this event in 29th with 142 reps. Now here's the thing. That's 2 reps that you're not going to get because the box jump over is where a lot of people were finishing right there, herself included. You're going to lose 4 points. You're going to have 8 after that because you were in the second heat. You got an extra amount of time. Rose Scott, 147 reps. You're just going to lose 1 point. Your 2 reps right there put you in a tie in one spot at 145. So you're going to lose a little bit, and that's it. That's it right there. Dealing with pennies here.
You'd take a penny from the tray.
From the crippled children?
Because other than the fact that nothing matters here and they can change anything whenever they want, one of the initial decisions was that this is only going to be worth 50 freaking points. So I'm sitting here and I'm freaking throwing pennies around. I'm like, you get one, I take one, you get one, I take one. And I'm just sitting here like, why did I do all this?
No, that's the jar. I'm talking about the tray. The pennies for everybody.
Because usually when I make one of these videos, there's some sort of a crazy change at the top. But in order for the crazy change at the top to have been something that had happened, there should have been somebody at the bottom of the leaderboard who just murdered it. But we are going to now talk about the bottom of the leaderboard. Some people who did get screwed out of some points, starting with Gabrielle Spenst, who finished 12th on the event, 161 reps. Sorry, she's a wash. Along with Freya Moosberger, also a wash. They're not going to move at all because with their 161 reps, let's say you give them 2 reps for the box jump overs, or maybe they make it over to that dumbbell because some people were doing that, like Emma Carey on that second 5-minute AMRAP. There was nobody above them where they could bump up, but that is not the case for Elizabeth Wishart. Elizabeth Wishart? I don't know, there's an S and an H right next to each other, but we're going to go with Wishart, who finished this workout in 9th. She actually was going to move up 6 whole points to 5th. She was going to move from 9th place to 5th place, and that's a big deal. So if I was Elizabeth Wishart and I was in the initial heat and I found out that I lost 5 seconds, and if I had had those 5 seconds, I'd get an extra couple of box jump overs, I would wander my way on over to the leaderboard and I would say, okay, where am I currently sitting? I would see that I'm in 16th, and by all means, I deserve to be sitting right above Danny Spiegel in 13th place. I wouldn't quite get up to Lexi Neely because, again,
I'm just talking about fractions of a penny.
50 points, and when it's only worth 50 points, there's not that much room to be moving around all that much. But 13th place sounds a lot better than 16th place, doesn't it, Mrs. Wishart? We're dealing with day number 1 here, and I guess I could talk about the strict pull-ups.
Here where you're seeing them switch between grips for every rep, just a nice little break to allow that to happen.
Moista said this.
I could talk about Colton Burton saying awesome stuff.
How do you respond to a change in workout like that, though?
I was going to win this shit either way. I mean, these guys couldn't keep the pace. They're all just fighting for second place when they see either of those workouts and I'm in the field.
If I could talk about the Danny Spiegel rep that should have been.
Unfortunately, I got no rep on that first one. I don't really know what happened, but...
Sure, this looked like a good snatch to me. I don't think it was a mandated squat snatch. And she looks just as confused as I do, Sean. I don't know.
Because while they don't care about 5 seconds, they do care about arm gestures. That judge did not do anything wrong. That judge did exactly as I'm sure all the judges were briefed to do, and Danny Spiegel did not listen, like she never does. And she finally got what was coming to her, which was a well-deserved. No, I wouldn't say it was quite well-deserved, but she should have been listening to the rules like everybody else in the briefing and say, hey, watch the judge put their arm down, and then you can do the next rep. So yeah, over on Instagram, I have been making all of these crazy short things that happen as they happen. I'm going to be trying to do some of the more long-format stuff like this, although this is entirely irrelevant where we've got 3 people who didn't do anything whatsoever. It has no effect at the top of the leaderboard, but it does make a difference for the Elizabeth Wisharts of the world. My goal for tomorrow is to figure out how to say her freaking name. CrossFit 9 Degrees is where she's from, and who knows, maybe she has a killer day 2, and these 6 points come back to bite her in the butt, and that's Wodapalooza's fault. I'm now asking everybody who's made it to the end of my video to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be on every show tomorrow on the Sevon podcast. Wodapalooza can only go up from here. Andrew Hiller, out.
Please smash that like button, no one touches there.
Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it! Some people dream of success while you're gonna wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. No, what are you waiting for? Do it! Just do it! Yes, you can!